Welcome to the Veterans Archives podcast, where every veteran story is honored and celebrated. Join us as we delve into the rich histories and experiences of those who have served our nation. You can catch our podcast on all major podcast platforms, as well as every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Reads Across America Radio. At Veterans Archives, we believe your story matters. Visit our website at www.veteransarchives.org to explore more about our mission, discover resources for veterans, and stay updated on upcoming episodes. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to engage with our community. Subscribe, like, and share to spread awareness about our veteran stories. Whether you're a veteran, a supporter, or simply curious about the profound journeys of those who have served, Veterans Archives invites you to listen in, learn, and be inspired. Join us as we continue to honor and preserve the legacies of our veterans. Good morning. Today is Monday, December the 2nd, 2025, and we're talking with Robert Bob Shrader, who served in the United States Navy. So good morning, Bob.
Morning.
So we'll start out simple, and I just wonder, when and where were you born?
Lincoln Park, I think it was 1212 Fort Park.
Okay. And when's your birthday?
December 27, 1926.
Okay. Something interesting that has nothing to do with this. I actually left for Navy boot camp on December 27th in 1984. so imagine that. So what do you remember about growing up? What was it like for you?
Like I say, we moved. My dad worked on the Pennsylvania Railroad, called the Hump on Southfield Road. But I was just trying to...
Yeah, what did he do for the railroad? What did he do for the railroad?
He was an engineer.
Okay, all right.
And he used to take me with him.
Uh-huh.
I guess I was about a year old when I went the first time.
Really?
And always went on a holiday or Sunday, because there was no big shots around, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I would ride in the caboose for a while with the when they had a 5-man crew, and they kept cutting down, you know, and then they don't even have a caboose anymore.
Right, I've noticed that. So you did this for a number of years, so you actually remember doing it at one point, right? Riding with your dad?
Yeah, in fact, I don't think I missed a year ago. I was joined up when I was 18.
Okay.
The Navy.
So every year until you left, you would ride with your dad on the train.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that pretty exciting as a kid?
It was pretty good. He was, his job was what called a local. He worked out of Detroit, out of the Hump, and he'd the Wabash Yard. I don't know if that's there anymore, but he would, and then he would go up to way up north, not way up north, but up around. I never thought I'd forget it, but there was a railroad yard up around Schaefer, and there, and he would like go from one was paying the most, or working the most.
I see. Now, did you have brothers and sisters?
I had 2 half-brothers. My dad was married previous.
Okay. And what about your mom? What do you remember about your mother?
She was from Maumee, Ohio, and she. I was trying to think when They were on a farm, and I had an uncle that I think a lot of the guys didn't like farming,
Mm-hmm.
and he went to California when he was young, and he was in the big earthquake that happened out there. I forget, it was in 19. I should have marked it down, but anyway.
The big San Francisco earthquake, the one that leveled the town?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he got on a boat and went to Alaska. He really bummed around, and then he settled in Montana on a railroad, and I never thought I'd forget the name of the. Oh gosh! But anyway, he went from Butte on the railroad on a sort of like an angle.
Mm-hmm.
He would move from one town to another, and we didn't have like we got
Like cell phones.
cell
and all that,
phones
yeah.
today, and I went through the town he lived in, and it was 3:00 in the morning, and it was like January.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, he's my uncle. After he retired from the railroad, he come and lived with my folks till he died. He died, I would say, fairly young, in his 60s.
Yeah, that's quite young, actually.
Yeah.
So I want to go back a little bit to growing up as a kid. Did you go to school? Like grade school and?
Yeah, grade school.
Uh-huh.
Went to Lafayette school. I never one thing. The superintendent's daughter and I kind of hit it off.
Uh-huh.
We were couldn't have been 7, 8 years old. I don't know. But anyway, she took me in coming home with her, and they were closer to school, Than, anyway, it really upset my folks because I didn't.
I'll bet. Yeah. Did you have a lot of friends in school?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you play sports or any of that?
Yeah, I played. I regret not going. I went to South Rockwood. They had a high school in South Rockwood.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone now. The building's not even there. But anyway, when I decided in my sophomore year to go to Flat Rock, I should have went out even though it was late, I should have went out for football. But I went out in my 11th and 12th grade for football.
Uh-huh.
And I should have, even though I was, it was late, I should have went for that first year.
Yeah.
'Cause I made a lot of friends on the football field.
Did you like playing football then?
Yeah.
Did you? Do you remember what position you played?
Well, they made me the main one.
Oh, quarterback.
Quarterback. First year they made me quarterback, and the next year they made me right guard.
Uh-huh.
And but I had a lot of experience. Chelsea, we played. That was probably the furthest away, And we had an old 35 Pontiac, and load up their equipment, and 6 or 7 guys in that 4-door old Pontiac. And my best friend had I think it was a 41 Chevy, and he would take off, and that old Pontiac would go down to Will Carleton, you know. I remember hitting the horn button and waving at him, and he couldn't get that car to go past 70.
Oh, no.
And that old Pontiac would go 80, 85.
So you didn't take team buses. You guys actually drove to these away games.
Yeah, they didn't have buses.
Uh-huh. Did you win a lot of games? Did you win a lot of games?
No, I'd say about half.
Yeah. Sounds like you had a lot of fun, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you remember from that?
Oh, a lot of things. I made probably my best friends when I was in high school,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Now, did you stay friends with them after high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them come out and help build on the house, because this is plastered, you notice.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's rock lath, you know. I don't even know if they make it.
I think everything's sheetrock now. I don't think they do any of that anymore.
Yeah, I know what it's like with this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You and your friends did a great job. So you went through high school. You had that brief episode of going out with the superintendent's daughter when you were really young.
Yeah.
And so when we were talking earlier, you said you had joined the Navy at the age of 18.
Yeah.
And so tell me about that. What made you join the Navy?
Well, it was wartime,
Mm-hmm.
and there was only 39, I think, in our class, and 12 of us went into the service. And I just didn't think I'd like Army life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always on the river, you know, out down by Point Millet and that, you know, by the water.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot. And so I decided to join. And a couple of us went down close, and they wouldn't take us at 17. And 2 days after Christmas is my birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and they called me. My folks had to take me down to Detroit.
Uh-huh.
My mother's crying. Don't they know that you're... I said, they don't care.
Right.
It's wartime.
That's right. And then so you left from Detroit. Did you go to Great Lakes Training Center then?
Great Lakes.
Do you remember what that was like when you first got there? Was it a big change for you? How was basic training?
Well, being I joined, I had to accept whatever I got.
True.
You know, no, some of the guys got drafted, and they put them in the Navy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't even. They might have given them a choice. You know, join Marines or the Navy, Army, and that. Yeah, but being that I joined, I accepted what I got, and it's a different attitude, I think, you know.
Yeah. Do you think that playing sports in high school helped you in basic training, in boot camp?
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, did you make friends in boot camp? Did you meet a lot of different people? What was that whole thing like for you?
Well, like you say, I accepted it because I caused
Right.
the problem, you know.
Yep. I understand.
And I know some guys were, I don't know, just weren't happy. I mean, I was always looking for something new to do, you know.
Right. Well, what would be like one memory that comes to mind about basic training when you were there? Do you have like a memory of that you want to share?
There was quite a few.
Is there anything that happened special that kind of sticks out in your mind at all?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it organized.
Okay.
Like you say, when you're forced into an area, you throw it back. But like if you know that you cause your own problem,
Right.
you accept it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so you went to basic. Was it 12 weeks or 13 weeks, something like that when you went?
Yeah, it was 12 weeks.
And then you graduated from basic training. Did you go to like a specialty school or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I put in for after boot camp, you could join different things, you know, and I put in for boilerman, you know. I guess because my dad was a railroad engineer and then I was the flag bearer for our company. We went they sent us to Newport, Rhode Island, which is a unique base.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember one thing. There was a wooden bridge, and it was long. Probably 1,000 foot long, you know, and we couldn't march and step. We had to, because if they do damage to the bridge, you know.
Right. So you kind of had to walk across the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I had a lot of memories there, and then we. After our, I'm trying to think how many weeks we were up there. But anyway, we come down by train to Brooklyn Navy Yard to our ship. And it was brand new. And it wasn't ready, and there were some things that they had to do. I know the boiler room, engine room, and electrical was all in one spot. Would be like this, you know, a little bigger, and that had to be, they had not your propeller, but your shaft.
Yeah, the shaft.
They closed that up. They welded it. You had to go up top on deck and go down, if you know, to oil stuff and check stuff.
So this was what ship was this?
Oglethorpe.
Okay, and you got there before it was even commissioned then? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, how long before you actually set sail? How long were you there?
Let's see. They put us on a wooden barge, and that barge was towed over to England in the First World War.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The thing was about that thick. you know.
I can't imagine going across the sea on something like that. That would be, wow.
I do remember I got a chance to come home, and I had a real thin trifold wallet, and I had it under my pillow. Well, somebody slipped it out, took all the money, and I was going to buy my ticket that morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'll wait when I go. Well, they stole all my money. It was less than $100. He could come home on $12 or something, you know.
Yeah, a little less expensive back then.
They said, Bob, how come you're down today? Somebody stole my wallet or took all the my money. Even somehow I got my laundry out by paying, but anyway, the guys, they give me over $100. I don't know. I said, you guys keep track of it. So I can't. So when I come home, then I had money to come home, and I paid everybody off.
That was really nice of them to do that, though.
Yeah.
And that's part of being in the military, though, I think.
Yeah, you were in the Navy, right?
I was.
Yeah.
They take care of you. Your friends take care of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like coming home? I mean, were you different? Were your friends different when you came home that time from the shipyard?
Well, I guess they wish they were in the service, you know.
Yeah. Yep. I hear that a lot.
I'm trying to think what month it was. Anyway, it was 45, and I asked permission to come home, and they says no. And one of my friends was from Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. Well, Milwaukee is further, west than Detroit.
Oh, yes.
And I got into an argument with this officer. Like I said, I hate to tell you geography, but I said, Detroit, is further than, than Milwaukee. Uh-huh. And they let this guy go. So that's the only time I done anything I shouldn't have. I come home. I was 150 miles out of bounds,
Right.
And I got stopped at the new or the depot they just rebuilt. Mm-hmm. Well, that's where I came in and left, and it's a 150-mile radius or something I had to pass in there, and I'm going down the ramp, and I hear this. He must have been a Detroit police when they made him
like shore patrol?
Shore patrol.
Yeah.
Hey, you. Hey, and I heard click, click, click. And my folks were up on the balcony, and so he caught, I knew he was, I have this feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Why he picked on me, I don't know. But anyway, he spun me around, and he says, let's see your leave paper. You're out of bounds by 150 miles or something like that. I said, well, I'm going overseas. And that ain't no. So he took me in the office, and my folks must have been pretty worried.
Yeah.
And so he got on the phone. He was miserable. And he said, yes, he's heading back. I mean, I could. The guy was really smart. That was on the other side, the phone, and he said, "Okay, all right," and he turned to me and he says, I'm going to let you, I'm going to let you go. It wasn't him, it was his superior.
Yeah.
And he says, anybody who stops you, tell them that it's all right.
I like anybody else going to stop you but him,
Yeah.
right?
And I didn't. And I said, you're holding me, and I'm going to miss my train. I said, I'm heading back. I said, I'm not staying. I'm going back. It's different than. So anyway, but he said, and he gets stopped again. Just tell him. I said, it's okay.
He felt like he was a pretty important person, didn't he?
Yeah. I think he was I'm almost sure he was a Detroit policeman, and they just put a uniform on him.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
So you got back to the ship, and then you headed overseas.
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of ship was the Oglethorpe?
It was I think it had 5 holes on it. I thought Gary brought a picture up.
Oh yeah, I'll get it. It's right over here. Oh, there you go. You want to show that to the camera too, so people can see it. So that's the Oglethorpe, and was that a tender?
No, it was. We had 22 landing crafts on it.
Okay.
We had 20 LSTs, and we had a captain's jig, but it was beautiful. But there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes, and it was a pretty good sized ship, and we had a 5-inch on the back, and we had 50 millimeters and 20 millimeters, different places,
Can you show that to the camera? Can you show that to the camera so people can see that? So yeah, that's the Oglethorpe right there. And what was your job on board?
I was, I went in as a fireman, and I think at the time I got aboard ship, I was first class fireman, and you had a red sash here, and then I made third class not fireman, water tender, and they don't have that rate anymore.
No, they don't even use boilers anymore. Amazingly enough.
And we used to have to take the front part off, go in there and scrape.
They clean all the boiler tubes, right? Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And did they burn fuel oil? Was that what they burned? Okay. So not really clean. No. So you were right down in the hold of the ship then, working on the boiler system.
A couple of my seaman friends, they wouldn't come down.
No. Did you guys do this? So when I was in the Navy, I was a fire controlman. I worked on missile systems, but some of my friends were. I was still on a steamship at the time, and you would go down there and they would ask you if you wanted a BT punch, and if you said yes, so they were boiler technicians. They would punch you in the arm. So someone would send you down there to get a BT punch, and you'd get punched in the arm. Did you guys do that kind of stuff?
No.
Oh.
Oh, had some crazy things. You know,
Here, I can take that for you.
as you go down the hallway, this door would open, that would, and we had a true Indian chief was commissary.
Mm-hmm.
And he was ticked off at us so much because he would, he always said that, I'm trying to think of the company that we were in, but we were, you know, we'd help, they'd get us to help bring supplies in.
Uh-huh.
And as these doors would open, we would go down. And a couple of the guys were pretty handy, the older ones. And under the deck, they welded some bars across. We'd put these peaches and this stuff we were bringing in.
Right.
So we didn't go to chow very lot of times, and we caught a tuna. Oh, they're like that, and the baker cooked it for us, and he can imagine it'd last 2 or 3 days.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know.
So you'd eat those ill-gotten peaches with that tuna that you caught?
Yeah, and the baker would give us a couple of loaves of bread, so we had a good time.
Oh, it sounds like it.
And it was still wartime. We were going down the coast when we headed overseas,
mm-hmm.
and went into the canal. We stopped at both. There was I thought I'd never forget the name of the town on each side of the canal, but anyway, we got 4 days out of Cologne.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think one town is called. Anyway, we were 3 days out, and the war ended. So,
really?
And it was another 3 days to get to Hawaii,
Uh-huh.
Honolulu. And so we missed all the celebration.
Oh, no. So you didn't even you weren't there for any of it.
Yeah. No.
So how long were you in Hawaii then?
We stayed about 2 weeks maybe.
Okay.
And then I was going to get it out for you. We were supposed to keep a diary,
mm-hmm.
but I wrote down every day where we were, or every other day, But it was interesting.
It sounds like it. So were you in Oahu then? Do you remember in Hawaii? Is that where you went?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were all set to go off to war, and then it ended.
Yeah.
So what happened after you left Hawaii?
Well, I was going to get the book out, and we went to Anahuac. If you've heard of, that's where they dropped the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back from, we went to quite a few islands, took supplies in and that. But I wanted to get away from that Anahuac the worst way.
I'll bet. No one wanted to stay there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you just make your way back to the States then after that? Since the war was over, did you continue on to where you were going?
We ended up, after a few months, ended up in the Philippines. And I'd washed my blue jeans. It was, I don't know, I know there was at least 3 pair I'd washed, and I went back in, and it was all tents. There was partial tents. The top was canvas. Anyway, I kind of laid back, and somebody come and stole my laundry.
Oh, no.
Yeah, after I,
After you washed it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was almost dry, and I mean, that's one bad thing I remember.
Uh-huh.
And that was it. That was in Hawaii, Philippines, and the captain. There was 70 of us that got off. That's a lot. That really hurts.
Yeah.
Felt bad for the captain, but anyway, we wanted to go home, and we got off.
So you got off the ship in the Philippines and came home from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I worked my way back on the ship and pipes were leaking, and this officer was from Lincoln Park, and I was going to make a point to get to him after, but I forgot it. But anyway, we couldn't stop the water. It was an older ship, and anyway, we had words.
So the bilge pump had to do a lot of work then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now when you came back, where did you go to California, or did you come back to New York, or where did you come back in the States?
Through the canal again.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
Twice. Some people have never seen the canal.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Is it? Now, did you get to stop this time at all and do any sightseeing, or did you just go through the canal and that was it?
That was it.
Okay. And where did you end up coming back to then?
Norfolk.
Okay.
3 times, and that's probably the worst city in the States.
Yeah, they didn't have a good reputation back then, did they? No.
No.
Yeah. So, how long did you stay in Norfolk then?
It was only a few days. I remember I had 2 sea bags, and souvenirs, which I shouldn't probably had. I didn't mean to sing that song, but I had a couple of shells. In fact, I got them in the kitchen, but 50 millimeter or so. And anyway, I had 2 sea bags full of stuff that the Navy probably would have took back.
Right.
But anyway, I was able to catch a shipment, or I shipped it home. Folks, I had my own clothes,
Yeah.
but the souvenirs.
You want to make sure those got back, right?
Yeah. And I felt bad for I never got interested in guns. And these guys had their rifles, they get rifles somehow,
Right.
And anyway, the order came with everyone with a rifle had to turn it in. And guess what? Most of them threw them over.
Yeah, they wanted to keep them, didn't they?
Yeah. Threw them in the ocean.
Oh, geez.
I think the officers, had the desire to have them, to get them. But they said rather than give them to them, give them up, they just threw them away.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they do that a lot though with old equipment, I guess. Yeah. So did you fly home from Norfolk, or did you take a bus? How did you get home?
Rail.
Oh, on the train.
And it was coal-fired, there was, I don't know when the diesels came. There might have been a few diesels during the war, but not like the steam engines, But they were dirty.
Yeah. So did you come back to Detroit? Or,
Yeah.
Okay. And what'd you do when you got home?
Well, I'm trying to think. I've hired Ford Motor Company.
Mm-hmm. Now you worked for Detroit Edison for a little while too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first job for about a year, I got it written down in my diary. My first job was Firestone in Wyandotte, right on the water. And that was a tough job.
What did you do there?
Well, I done everything you can think of. The tractor rims were about this high, They'd take a piece of metal and weld it together, and then that was one part. Then you lift that up, put it on a machine, and it would close down and take the weld off underneath. And then there was another machine would slice off this. It was quite interesting. You had to be pretty careful because, I don't know how many times I had to go to sick bay and they'd cut the glove off and then pull a piece of steel out.
Yeah, sounds like a dangerous job. So you did that for about a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got hired at Ford, and I thought, I'll keep that job.
That's Ford, right?
4 years and got laid off.
Oh, no. And then
After Ford's, I got hired at Edison, but they never let you do anything. At Ford's, I had my own shift,
Let's take a quick break.
Veterans Archives is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we rely on donations from our listeners. If you are enjoying these stories and would like to support our continued efforts, please go to www.veteransarchives.org and select the donate button. Thank you. But then at Edison, they kind of watched what you did.
Yeah.
How long were you there?
About 3 or 4 years, I think.
And then where did you go from Ford?
Well, the city of Flat Rock bought the Ford plant from, to make water, And I said, maybe they'll hire me. And this is Huron Township. The Inkster Road is the dividing line. And Oh, they wanted me to sell the house and move into Flat Rock. And I put a lot of time in this house.
Yeah.
The wife and I and my friends and my brother-in-laws,
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'm not going to move into, move.
Yeah. Well, let's back up a little bit. When did you meet your wife, and how did you meet your wife? So you got married in this period of time at some point.
Yeah. There was a roller skating Mayflower. You ever hear of that?
I have not.
It's tore down now. My brother-in-law met his wife there. They got married, and well, we went there before the war. The older guys would drive us,
Mm-hmm.
and I skated almost every city that I went to, in the service.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was Gene Autry was stationed that way at the airport down there, and I never met him, but some of the guys, they'd come down, and they would, I don't know how often they'd have a dance. They wouldn't roller skate, they'd have a dance.
Right.
But it was interesting.
Mm-hmm. So did you meet her at a dance, or did you meet her roller skating?
Roller skating.
Okay.
And her younger sister was, I'm trying to think of the only time I would skate with my future wife was when they had advanced couples, and you'd move up. I don't know if you've roller skated.
Yes, I have. So you're roller skating with a couple, and then they would say, "Okay, move up," and then you'd move up to the next person.
And her younger sister, well, she was 10 in the family, and anyway, that's the only time I skated with her. It was when that happened, and she had a girlfriend, and anyway, my buddy and I, he was in my neighborhood out in Carlton, or Ash Township. Anyway, we followed them. They had this Wyandotte bus come all the way out to Middle Belt Road to the roller rink was only about a block and a half from Eureka Road. And anyway, they walked down to the corner and got on the bus, and we followed them and yakking, Anyway, we followed the bus into Wyandotte, and I never thought I'd forget the name of the restaurant. They didn't serve liquor, and I didn't drink. My dad done the drinking for me.
Oh, well, okay.
So I never took a drink in the service, and I don't think I drank till I was, I even took wine. It was 4 or 5 years after we was married. Just, I seen what it done to my dad.
Yeah.
Of course, my dad gave us a good life, but the drinking was still there,
Yeah. Yep, that can be hard. So you followed her into Wyandotte, and you went to this diner.
Blossom Cafe.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So you didn't forget.
And so we went in and had booths, and we were yakking back and forth. And they said, well, we take you home. They walked the block down to the bus stop and went home.
Oh, geez. So then when did you see her again?
the next time we went roller skating.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think how we ever did get a date. But I remember after I was going steady with my wife, they lived on Inkster Road in Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
and it was on paved then. And I come down and I looked, and I said, "That looks like my girlfriend's father's car," and it was in the ditch.
Oh, no.
And it was about a half a mile from his house on Inkster Road, up towards North Line.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled up and rapped on the window, and I said, "Mr. Boyk," B-O-I-K was the name, you know.
Yeah.
I said, I'll pull you out. I got a chain, and I had a 42 Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Always had a chain in the car I had, and so I hooked up, and I said, "But give me a." He says, "Well, that Ford ain't gonna pull me out," and you'd be surprised.
Uh-huh.
And I remember if I turned around and pulled him, used the trailer hitch. But anyway, I pulled him out. So he went down, and I thought he was going to go in the ditch, going home.
Oh.
And I remember my wife was really embarrassed,
Yeah.
but she knew he would take $1, $1.50, and come back with most of it and go to the bar.
Oh. I see. So how long did you date?
About 2 years,
Okay. All right.
maybe a little longer.
Do you remember proposing to her? Do you remember proposing to her?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What was that like?
Well, she accepted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 2 of her sisters got married. There was 10 in the family,
Mm-hmm.
you know. There was seven boys, and 7 girls and 3 boys. And so we had, we didn't want to it didn't really matter, but put pressure on the in-laws, you know.
Right. Give them a little time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you remember when you got married?
1950, February
February 1950.
4th.
Okay.
And we started to look for land.
Uh-huh.
And boy, did some of the stuff they tried to sell you.
Not good, huh?
No, not this one contractor took us over towards Lake Erie,
Mm-hmm.
and he was, in fact, my best friend lives there now. But anyway, the fence was just, the water would come up and the debris would stick there. You know? And I said, "Does this ever flood?" And he said, "Oh, no."
Never.
Well, you could just see all the paper and litter, you know.
Yeah.
And they wanted $6,000 for that. It had a tool shed. It had it was up by the house where the shed was. It was high, but it dropped right off and it would flood.
Oh, yeah. So you opted not to buy that one.
But this was just the land in a shed.
Uh-huh.
$6,000.
That's a lot of money at that time, wasn't it? Yeah.
And this was a acre, and a quarter, and we paid $1,000.
So this is where you settled then?
Yeah.
Where we're sitting now?
The older lady lived just in a house on the end of the Inkster Road. It's probably one of the oldest houses in the township.
Uh-huh.
But she gave us a really good buy.
So there was a house on this property then?
No, there was just
Or was it just land?
land.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, I think it's an acre and a quarter. There was five lots. And a couple of the lots would be like a wedge, you know.
Yeah.
But, and she wanted to buy 1 or 2 lots, and I said, we want 5.
Take them all, right?
Yeah. And then, I don't know how, I can't remember when we bought the back lot.
Mm-hmm.
Was 3/4 of an acre, you know. But the only thing my son and I, we gotta get a real estate or to straighten it out, because we gotta get the driveway to this, you know, the way it sits now. This is the driveway. It goes to the back. We got to get it so it's, you know.
Goes the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Unless one of the kids want it all.
Right.
And they can, you know.
Yeah, they can figure it out, right?
Yeah.
So you told me earlier that you actually designed this house that we're in right now. So you designed it and then you built it along with your friends and family.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did that take?
Not too long, because we let's see. I know my mother and dad were upset with me. June of 50, we got married in February, and we bought this property. And in June, I think it was June, and yeah. But I'm trying to think. We got it. We didn't even wait to get it legal of the paperwork. I mean, I was anxious.
Yeah, you want to get it done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then were you living with your parents then while they were building the house?
No, we were married.
Yeah.
And we rented a little house out on Ruddy Road.
Okay.
Off a Telegraph.
Okay. And by this time, you were working at, so were you working at Ford by this time while you were building the house?
Edison, I think it was.
Edison, okay. All right. And so you got the house done and you moved in?
And then the Navy sent me a greeting to come back to it was the Korean War.
Yeah, you know? That was nice of them.
Yeah. So I got, we moved in on, we didn't tell the township we moved in.
Right.
Because I had all below the carpeting is hardwood, beautiful hardwood. And I'd stored it in the back bedroom. We didn't have any children at that time, you know. Only married a couple of years.
Yeah.
And we stored the white or the oak in the back bedroom. And I remember after, when we were living here, my wife left me babysit the boy, Gary, and I put a blanket on the floor over here, and I decided I'd start here with the oak floor. And he was so content in that corner, and I was, have you put hardwood floor down?
Oh, yeah.
You drill, you drill, or else soap the nail real good.
Right, so you don't crack the floor.
And I had a little drill, and I looked over, and he was playing there in that blanket, and I run down the basement to get something, and I come back up, and he come over and picked that little drill up, and he put about 7 drills. It had a real small drill,
Yeah.
And my wife says, "What'd you do?" I says, "Well, I took the nails out."
Right.
And put my tools away, played with them the rest of the
It was time.
But I was so glad he didn't drill himself, or,
Oh, yeah. That would be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you so you didn't have children though when you got called back to active duty, right? For the Korean War? Had Gary been born yet?
No, he wasn't.
Okay. And then so did you actually go to Korea?
No, not that time.
Okay.
My doctor, you probably never heard of Dr. Sprague. He was one of the best doctors that I ever, and he was at Omaha Beach, doctoring.
Yeah.
And anyway, what was I? Well, anyway, I got called back in the Korean. I had to get my wife moved in. We put. I'm trying to think of that. It's a pink paper.
Oh, like craft paper.
Yeah.
Butcher paper or something like that.
And we put it all through and put linoleum over it, Because the township didn't know anything about
Right. Right.
But, we had quit it. And then I wrote a letter that said, this was in, I knew when I got to Gray Lakes, they give me a letter that Edison did. And we were going in, this lieutenant, I'm walking with them. And I said, "Sir, would you sign my letter?" I said, "My wife would get $100. "Oh, definitely." He said, "But I'm not ship's company." I said, "All I need is an officer's name." And so we went over to a table, and he signed it, and I thanked him, and I sent it to my wife. And I don't know if we phoned it all, but I got a letter from her that she got to cash the check for $100.
Well, that's good. That's good.
And then I'm trying to think what it was. I got called back again, and some of my buddies, how you like to rub the people the wrong way.
Oh, yeah, that's what we do.
Bob's making a deal out of this. He's being called back again. And the second time, they sent me all the way to Philadelphia, and that's a big base, Navy base. And anyway, my doctor was on Omaha during the World War II. And he told me, just don't get on a small ship. A couple of days later, I see on the, I'm assigned to a destroyer, which he told me not to.
That's a small ship.
So anyway, I went to sick bay that night, or in the evening, and it was a first class corpsman, I think it was. Anyway, he was kind of nasty, or don't you know what sick call is? I said, sir, I said, sir, I do. But I said, my hernia wasn't bothering me then. What? And I said, I got a hernia. And I said, I've had it. This is the second time I've been called back. Mm-hmm. And so he says, come with me. And he had a bunch of civilians. And he took me up to the officer. And this man has been called back twice with a hernia, and I'm recommending, you discharge him again.
Right.
So he did. He checked me out, and I don't know where it had. You can push it in and out.
Yeah.
And so I think it was up there about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And so they sent you back home. This time, though, they told you you can't come back, right?
Nope, I can never join the Navy again.
So
my 10-year.
So that was it.
Yeah.
So you came home and went back to work and finished working on the house. Then, yeah. By this time, did the township know you were living here?
Yeah, we had, I never thought I'd forget this. He was an older gentleman, big, tall, like Abe Lincoln. And anyway, I had to have him in the house for some reason. But anyway, they didn't get too upset about it.
Uh-huh. Well, that's good. That's good. Now, you said that after the house was built, you had left Edison, and that the city of Flat Rock was hiring, but they wanted you to move.
Yeah.
Right? But you didn't. You're like, I'm not moving. We built this house, and so what did you do?
We just continued to finish it in the house.
Uh-huh. And then where did you work after that? Did you still work for Edison then? Or?
I think I'd have to get my diary out.
Uh-huh.
But I went to, I was trying to think where I did, I thought I'd remember the day I went to Flat Rock to work,
So you ended up going to Flat Rock, though.
Yeah.
They said, you don't have to move anymore? Okay.
Oh, there was always certain people that, if you work for a city, you should,
Right, of course.
And now there's a law that they can't force you to move.
Uh-huh.
Now,
did you work there till you retired then at Flat Rock? Did you work there until retirement?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're living here, you're working for the city of Flat Rock, and then at some point Gary came along.
Yep.
Right? So when was he born?
On July 13th. Let's see. Oh my gosh.
Would have been in the 60s sometime, right?
The 50s. Because we got married in 50. about 52, I think.
Okay. All right. And then did your wife work at all, or did she stay home, or what did she do?
She worked at the Detroit Malleable Steel.
Mm-hmm.
When we were dating, she was working at the dime store, 90 cents an hour or something. I forget.
Wow.
But anyway, 3 of her sisters worked at Detroit Malleable Steel.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember that, or remember that factory, it was near the Wyandotte School.
Okay.
It was a factory, and
Oh, they made steel for the auto industry. Then is that what they did there?
they made fittings.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about cores,
Okay. All right. She worked there for a long time?
Yeah, quite a while. And the only thing she got out of that working was that Bible in that wooden case.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing she ever got after all the years. But 2 of her sisters worked there.
Uh-huh.
They got her in. And
What did she do there?
she somehow made core or a fitting that they'd pour in the metal to make a elbow or something like that,
So she actually worked the line then. She wasn't in the office. She was working on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did she work there until retirement?
No. My son, after 2 or 3 years, my son came along, and then he wanted a swimming pool, and she said, when I quit work, we'll get a swimming pool. And I'm trying to think of the name of that company in Dearborn out there. It's right on the main road.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we had a in-ground pool,
Kind of a celebration when she quit working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son was tickled that
Yeah.
we got the pool. And like I said, there was 10 in the family, and only 2 other members ever had any doings in their house.
Uh-huh.
We had a backyard full of
Always something going on?
yeah.
Yeah.
Had a picnic or something going on.
Yep. So tell me, what was Gary like growing up? What was he like as a kid?
Very good.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember they had some kind of a hullabaloo out? I'm trying to think. Maybe remember. Anyway, we thought he went on he rode on a motorcycle.
Uh-huh.
Him and his buddy, and they said we're going to the Irish Hills. His folks had a lot up there, and my wife thought for sure that he was was going to this big.
Like a big motorcycle?
Yeah, it was and there was 2 or 3 of them. They camped on their folks' vacant lot in the Irish Hills.
Oh.
We thought for sure that they were going to be going in that big trouble they had.
Uh-huh. I see. But he didn't.
He didn't.
No, not at all. Not at all. And then, growing up, well, what else do you remember about him as a kid? Was he good in school?
Oh yeah, he was very probably the top of the class.
Now, did he play any sports? Did he play any sports?
Oh yeah. Football. He had. It was really. I think they had 13 members on the football field at that time. Now it's
10, 11, something like that, or is it? Oh no, on the whole team, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like 20 or 30 now for a team, right?
I got a really nice thrill or compliment. Flat Rock. I went to Flat Rock. They had me come down to Navarre Field. Flat Rock was playing Monroe, and they had me come down, and I had my uniform on, the guard, and I thought there would be 4 or 5. It was generally, the honor, and this lady that takes care of me, she comes twice a week, either takes me to the grocery store or we'll go down to the casino. Anyway, they honored me. I was the only one. And they give me a nice hat. And we thought maybe we'd get a write-up, but we could. There's hardly any newspapers.
Yeah.
We went all over looking for Flat Rock News, but it was quite an honor. They,
I'll bet. Oh, that'd be really nice.
Yeah, they had it. They said I went into the Navy and, at a certain date, and it was pretty nice.
That is nice. Now, how long were you married?
Oh my gosh. Over 40 years. And somewhere in the 40 years, my wife said, we should have celebrated on the 40th because we never made it to the 50th.
Yeah. What happened, if I can ask?
I always sleep in, and I heard the silverware and the dishes, the movement. And all of a sudden, it was quiet. I never heard it that quiet. And I jumped up and I run, looked in the kitchen, and not seeing her standing there. And I said, something's wrong. I went back in and she's laying on the floor by the refrigerator. She had like a heart attack or a seizure. She was already, they said she died at the hospital, but I think she was already gone.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad. You had a really nice life together.
Yeah, we did. I've got to 49 states. And I got my wife to a lot of those, but a lot of them has been reunions after my wife died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alaska is the only state that I don't feel like I'd gain anything by going.
That's a long haul for that state.
Yeah, I got to tell you about my Navy buddy. he was a Detroit boy, lived on Bewick. I don't know if you ever heard of Bewick. My Mac, you ever heard of Mac?
Yeah.
Well, it's on the east side. And anyway, he didn't even drive. There was a nickel to ride the streetcar back in the 40s.
Uh-huh.
And so anyway, they sent him to Kansas. Forget what city in Kansas, but anyway, they taught him how to drive a truck, a car. So he gassed planes up in California.
Oh. So did he do that? He did that for the commercial planes then, or he did that for the
Navy?
For the Navy planes. Oh, okay, okay.
And
Wow.
Our ship pulled into Alameda, California, and I got off. And it was the time I got around to his base. It was 9 o'clock, at night. And I had I don't know if it got on my sleeve or not, but anyway, the fellow says, I noticed, he says, you're fleet. And I said, yeah. And anyway, he said, what are you coming into our base for? And I said, my best buddy from, from boot camp is there. He says, this Owen, Ralph Owen. He says, I know him. I know what barrack he said, stick with me. And he took me right in and went up the steps. He says, he should be right there. And I said, and I'm always a joker, and I said, officer on deck, and he jumps up. You son of a bee.
You got him good.
Yeah. So then he come over a couple of days. He come over and seen my ship. And I don't know if I got this. Oh, we went out a few times. And I know, Frank Sinatra, we got tickets for Frank Sinatra. And he was good.
Yeah. He could sing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That must have been great. So you, you lived a good life. You did a lot of different things. You built your house. You raised a family. And I wanted to ask you a few more questions. One is when you think about your wife, do you have like a favorite memory of her or something that you remember right away?
Everything.
Yeah.
It seems like she was my life. After we got going together.
Yeah. Did you know right away when you met her that she was the one you were going to marry?
Well, after a while, it wasn't right the first thing, because I was telling you, it was hard to get a date with her. Her younger sister was more friendlier.
Right. Right. I understand.
And I got the younger brother was, he was in the Navy too. And I don't know if this happened after the Navy or what, but anyway, he drove his pickup right up to the door, and it seemed like they only had one door in that building. The front door, there should have been a back door, I don't know, but anyway, he was put the grew right up to the door. They couldn't get, nobody could get it around.
Did he like to play jokes like that?
Yeah. No, there was 3 boys, and the other 2 were very serious. I mean, they would never do anything like that. And the middle boy met his wife there, like I did,
Yeah. Well, that's nice. So, so you have 1 son, but you have some grandchildren. How many grandchildren?
5.
5 grandchildren, and you have great grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all doing well. They're all successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. They come visit once in a while. I saw when I pulled in, there was a sign that said Grandpa's house on the garage there. So I'm assuming that they come to visit once in a while.
Yeah. I don't know. You can give your opinion of how you feel. But my son and most of them want me to move out to Novi, for the, like, November, December, January. And to me, it's just like throwing $3,100 out the window each month,
Well, I would love to give you my opinion on that, but I think it's up to the individual. I actually go to a lot of places where people stay, and we do these interviews, and it's always been very good. It's always been a good experience, and there's other people to see and to hang out with and to do things with. There's always activities. There's always something going on. So that's what I think about that. I think that when I get to a certain age, I will certainly look into that for myself and for my wife if we're both still around. I think it's up to the individual to decide what you want to do. But having someone around to help take care of you, that's always a really good thing, I think, anyway. So that's kind of my opinion on it.
Yeah.
It's a decision that you have to make, but there's a lot of things to consider.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, my church, I'm Lutheran. And I'm Wisconsin Senate. I don't know if you're familiar with, that there's 3 senates, and but anyway, I'm.
So really, just a few more questions for you. Like I said, you've done a lot of things in your lifetime. You served in the military. You built a beautiful home. You raised a son and a family. Kind of one last question for you is that when people listen to your story years from now, what would you want them to take away from your life? What lesson would you like them to learn?
Boy, that's a hard question. I done a good job on the house.
So you put in hard work.
Yeah, we used to have a garden out on the west side, and it run from the front of the house all the way back. And we grew, my wife canned a lot, She was from the farm. And one day I was out there, and in fact I got a brush pile on now, and so is my neighbor. And anyway, I'm out there in the garden working, and my dog kept running back to the brush pile and running back to me, like,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden, 3 pheasants come out of that, male pheasants, beautiful. And that dog stopped and looked at me like, what the hell's wrong? Shoot him. Because he was a good hunter.
Yeah.
And I had to break him for going across the road.
Mm-hmm.
I had a pen built out there. The doghouse is out there yet, but the pen is all down and the bricks are all out. But anyway, that dog looked at me like, you dummy.
Right. Well, he expected you to do your job. He did his, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I caught him. I caught him across the road. He was pretty young. And I had him hooked up on a chain,
Yeah.
And I'd leave him loose. And so he'd be across the road. So I'd take my belt off. I'd hook him up for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be out in the yard, he'd be, ooh.
Right. He wanted to go.
And so I think it was 3 times. And each time I hooked him up longer, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I'd hooked him. I went out there after about 3 weeks. And I sat there and talked to him. I said, no, I'll leave you loose if you stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked down to get my mail. That was across the road then. And he walked down. I just sat. He sat down. The neighbor came up, a different neighbor then. And he said, how did you get that dog to stay on that side of the road? And I said, well, I didn't want to get him run over, and I wanted to teach him a lesson. And I said, he won't leave the yard now. But in 90-degree days, he would go down to the river and go in and take a swim.
Mm-hmm.
And I never showed him or anything, but
He figured out all was a pretty smart dog.
yeah.
I would guess.
And I had a really good neighbor. In fact, I had all good neighbors since I lived here. And he even built a dock. I had a boat.
Uh-huh.
It was a car top boat, but we reinforced it and made it too heavy to carry. But anyway, we'd take that down to the river and put it in. And then at one time we had a speedboat. A friend of mine, in fact, I went with him when he bought it. And he had it 2 or 3 years. I'm trying to think of it was a Mercury 16 horse. And it was the real thin wood. What they call it. But anyway, I ended up buying it.
Uh-huh.
And we had that. It was in a trailer, and we'd go out to Point Muley with it, or up north on vacation.
Mm-hmm. That sounds real nice. Well, I would like to take a look at all your memorabilia that you have out for us. So we'll we'll stop the interview part of it, and
Okay.
then we'll get some pictures, and I want to talk about the stuff that you have out because it's very interesting. But thanks a lot for sitting down for this interview this morning. We really appreciate it, and
Well, you're easy to get along with.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for listening to the Veterans Archives podcast, where every veteran story is honored and celebrated. Join us as we explore the rich histories and experiences of those who have served our nation. You can catch our podcasts on all major podcast platforms, as well as every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wreaths Across America Radio. At Veterans Archives, we believe your story matters. Visit our website at www.veteransarchives.org to discover more about our mission, access resources for veterans, and stay updated on upcoming episodes. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to engage with our community. Subscribe, like, and share to spread awareness about our veterans' stories. Whether you're a veteran, a supporter, or simply curious about the profound journeys of those who have served, Veterans Archives invites you to listen in, learn, and be inspired. Join us as we continue to honor and preserve the legacies of our veterans. Remember, your story matters. Visit us online today at www.veteransarchives.org and connect with us on social media and stay informed and engaged. And as always, thank you for your support.